Yeah, you can dance, but Zumba. So, all right, let's do one thing. In the meanwhile, but please don't complain to secretary office that we have been singing the songs.
What is that song? Actually, part of the consequence ba because I'm late. So sige, taking the consequence. But this song, I won't sing, but we sing all together. Okay lang? Diba? Because this is a very special day. No, it's a birthday today of our colleagues from Simame of Region A. So I don't think you would say no to that. So can we request for a happy birthday? And we would like each one of us to sing a song, Happy Birthday, something like that. Sorry, Region 6. Patindugan, ma'am, pwede, our birthday girl, so can we request our, oh, hintay ka lang, ma'am, hindi ka naman kakanta. Sige.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday to you!
Okay, can we also take this time to happy birthday? Joy, can you help me, Joy?
Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you!
Happy birthday,
Happy
Mamuel!
birthday to you!
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. 43.
Happy birthday!
Thank you so much. So, invited sa celebration 4 days na may buffet dinner. Ay, buffet, lunch.
That would be all. Thank you, sir.
Happy birthday to you, madam, once again. Yeah, thank you. You know, yesterday was Donald's birthday. Yeah, so today it's yours. So this particular session is right now being convened by Professor Harsh from Entrepreneurship and Industrial Development Department of NITTTR, India. So he's right now already with us. So let's welcome him for the first theme paper, which is on behavioral competencies for the strategic leadership. So the floor is yours, Professor Harsh. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all of you. I hope I am clear, audible, loud and clear to all of you. Hello, am I audible there?
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, I express my sincere gratitude to the Director General of the Colombo Plant Staff College, Professor Suresh Kumar Dhamija sir, for providing me this opportunity to interact with such an august audience. I also, convey my sincere regards and greetings from this part of the country, that is Chandigarh, of belonging to this country, India. Okay, so now let me come to the session's theme. Before I start my session's theme, first of all, I like to wish happy birthday to the madam as well. I don't know, I was not able to see that where she was, ma'am. A very many happy returns of the day to you as well. And I have hope you have a great years ahead, right? So let me share my screen with you, and then I'll start the session on this topic. Just give me a second, please. How is my screen visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the topic that has been assigned to me is behavioral competencies for strategic leadership. Now, this is a tough job to have because this is a post lunch session, and post lunch sessions are always tough to take, and you can understand very well. I hope TESDA and CPSC has not given you a very delicious and a tasty lunch. That's my wishing, to be frank, a very opposite to what you might have got. Okay, let me tell you the flow of this session, how this session I will be taking forward. So initially, I'll start with why these type of training programs are required. So that will be the initial segment of my lecture for this particular lecture, wherein I'll be talking about the things that are happening around us. Therein, I'll require some of the participation from all of you. I require some answers. I don't want this to be a monologue, rather, I want it to be an interactive one. So please feel free to stop me at any point of time if you have any questions or queries. Also, if my speed goes a bit fast, right, or my accent is not being clear to you, please apprise me regarding the same. So from there on, we will go and talk about a little bit about leadership and behavioral aspects, and then we will move on the combination of these tools. So this will be the major flow. We'll be more focusing on behavioral competencies for strategic leadership. That is what a leader should have in order to bring that behavioral change. So the need for training, if you can see, is warranted by the change that is happening around us. And that's why I found this topic to be very, very pertinent. So if you look here, a lot of things are changing. But what is the human's first reaction? Any human's first reactions towards a sudden change? And even from the audience, if my question is clear to all of you, what is human beings' first reaction to any sudden change? For example, there is a person who is very much accustomed to living in a very dirty and unhygienic environment. I take this person out of that environment and put him or her into a very clean and hygienic environment. Suddenly, what will be the first initial reaction of that person? Anyone from the audience?
Sir, I think the most common is resistance to change.
Absolutely correct, sir. Absolutely correct, sir. Claps for sir for that matter. I want everyone to make a grand clapping for that, right? The very correct answer. That's the first reaction is resistance always. Initial reaction is always a resistance, even though that change is very good for that person when we are taking him or her out of a very dirty and unhygienic environment and putting him or her into a very clean and hygienic environment. Still, that person is going to resist that change. But if you look at the word spelling of the word change, and if I replace the alphabet G by alphabet C in the spelling of the word change, what the word becomes? The word becomes chance, right? So change many times is also a chance or an opportunity for us. So this, let's look at on another thing, if you look at it, the only constant thing in life is change. Rest all never remains the same. It is the change only that is always there. So let's look at what are the things that are changing, because many peoples may have that kind of uh, notion that I have remained same from last few years. Why do I need to understand this or understand about these trainings? So let's look at what are the things that are changing. So just look at the changing workforce composition as well as the students community. Student community is also changing. But if you look at it, majority of the workforce comprises of three generations: Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. You might have heard these words significantly. Uh, can someone tell me, how do I know which generation I belongs to? How can I determine which generation I belongs to? And what is the significance of these generations? So you might have heard millennials, right? The word millennials, which refers to Gen Y. So anyone would like to say, how do I know which generation you belongs to? Madams, the madams whose birthday is today, can she tell me, madam, which generation you belongs to? Okay.
Hi, sir. Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For the generations, I belong to Gen Y.
How did you determine it, ma'am? How can you say that you belongs to Gen Y, not to Gen
Oh,
X or Gen
I
Z?
can say that I belong to Gen Y because millennial.
See,
For the age group that I have,
right.
yeah, then of course for the technology, I'm a little bit tech savvy, of course. Compared to Gen Z, they are more on um, uh, technology, of course, nowadays compared to Gen Y. Then what else? Mm, yeah, I we value more on uh, work, of course. Like we are dependent on that books, readings, like that. So that's it, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot, madam. Thanks a lot for your answer. Okay, you gave a very correct answer there. That which generation I belongs to is determined by my birth year. If my birth year falls between 1965 to 1980, I am a Gen X person. Like I am a Gen X person, right? If your birth year falls in between 1981 to 1995, you are a Gen Y. 96 to 2010, it is Gen Z. 11 to 25, it is Gen Alpha. And 26 onwards, or the kids who are going to be born from 26 onward, are Gen Beta. Now the question comes, why these differences? Like most of us who are in the academic domain, either in teaching or in policy making, belongs to primarily from Gen X or Gen Y group. If we are in the policy making, I've seen majorly it is from Gen X or Gen Y, though there are few Gen Z people as well. But there exists a generation gap, like Madam pointed out. One generation gap, one of the domain in which generation gap exists is technology, or the usage of technology, rather, I'll say, the way we use technology. But there are many others as well. It is not only about the technology. Technology is no doubt one of the major factor, but it is also about choices, preferences, attitude, and behavior. For example, just raise hands. I don't know, probably someone can help me out. I'm not able to see how many will raise hands. If you can see this symbol which I'm making with the help of my thumb and my index finger, right? How many of you know about this symbol? Just raise hands. In the I can see many of you sitting there. So if you can raise your hands, if you can identify this symbol, which I'm just making. I hope I am visible to all of you. Okay. Many of you are raising hands, right? So can someone tell me what is this? Sorry, that mic has to go on and on. I hope the coordinator will be not face an issue there of moving around so much, right? Can anyone tell me? Yeah, this is the symbol I was making. Sorry.
Heart, heart.
Heart, small heart for liking. Absolutely correct. And many times when I ask in here this question to Gen X people, many of the Gen X people will say either it is X, it is alpha, it is infinity, right? But the moment I ask these questions to any Alpha or Gen Z person, the answer that Madam just gave to me comes out quickly. Now, this is the difference, right? So it is not about technology. It is about choices, the way we want, the music that we want to listen to, right? The attitude, the behavior, how do we react to certain situations? This is all, there is a change in between them. So that creates a challenge for us. So if we are a teacher, if we are a faculty, how do we connect to our students in the TVET education? If you are a policy maker, are we making the policies relevant for this new generation? Because most of the students are now belonging to Gen Z and Gen Alpha. For example, like Madam was talking about tech usage, still I want to read. Suppose if want to read anything, I want to read it on paper, physical paper, right? Hard paper, hard copy of that particular thing, article. My daughter, who belongs to a Gen Alpha, she likes to reads on mobile screen. Difference, right? So that's it is causing one change. Another important change that is coming is because of the increase in the number of connected devices across the world. You can, if you can just compare here on the screen the number of connected devices in the world with in the year 2003, which were less than half a billion, has now increased to almost 80 billion connected devices. Now, what is the change that is coming because of this? Now, because of this, there is a phenomena that is rising that is known as IoT. And all of you must be aware that it is nothing but Internet of Things. At a very layman's term, if I have to explain IoT, it is nothing but connected devices. So my mobile is connected to my car, which is connected to my heating system, which is connected to my refrigeration system, which is connected to my electric system, and so on and so forth. So this is also bringing a huge amount of change. Another change that is happening is because of the human machine interaction. You can see in this particular slide that by the year 2030, it is projected that the work done alone on the technological basis will increase significantly, and work done alone by a human. So there are three common categories here. One is work done by the humans only without any technology usage. When I'm saying technology, it is more about IT and automation side. Another is purely automation, where very less number of human intervention is required, or very less amount of human intervention is required. So you can see here that by 2030, from 2020 22%, it is projected that it will increase to 34%. Okay. Another change that is happening. Anyone would like to attempt these three questions? Please feel free. It's just an interaction. We are just sharing our knowledge, because we say the more we share, the more we'll gain. So I'm looking, looking forward to learn from all of you. Yeah. Anyone would like to answer this?
Sir,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have Uber and Grab, taxi companies.
Uber. Absolutely correct, ma'am. Largest accommodation provider. The first question is absolutely correct, ma'am. The answer to the first question. Absolutely. I heard a little bit. The ma'am who gave the answer, who gave it? Can you speak it loudly, ma'am? I think I have heard it correctly, what you have said, but still want
Hello,
to.
sir. It's Airbnb, the
Ab-
largest accommodation provider.
Absolutely correct, ma'am. Absolutely correct. Thank you. Thank you. And anyone would like to answer the third one as well?
Amazon, sir.
Absolutely correct, ma'am. I think I've heard it correctly, right? Someone gave the answer as Amazon. Absolutely correct. Right. So what you have said is absolutely correct. So see, just it's just sharing our knowledge here and there. So if you look at here, world's largest taxi company, can you also list out some of the commonalities between these three firms? There are many commonalities between these three firms, but still, if you can just, mention out few things there. There are many commonalities, but can if you can mention couple of them, major ones. Anyone? See, I'm doing all this to keep you awake. That's why I'm asking you all these questions.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
One common for them is that they cater an online service,
Absolutely correct.
online transaction.
Very true. Yes. So they are all online. Majorly, they provide online services, though there is a physical infrastructure also there. But this is a very interesting commonality between these three firms. Uber, though, is the world's largest taxi company, but practically, if you look at them, they do not own any taxis. Similarly, Airbnb is the world's largest accommodation provider, but again, they do not own any real estate. And similarly, for the third one, that is the Amazon, even though it is the most valuable retailer in company in the world, but practically again, they do not hold any inventory. Now, had someone told me, in a Gen X person like me, when I was in my college during 90s, that a world's largest taxi company do not owns any taxis, I would not have believed at that point of time. But we all know that these are platform based businesses. and they are changing our landscape very, very quickly. So when I'm saying practically, though, if you, when I'm saying practically, what I mean here is if you compare the fleet size of the Uber, the number of taxis that are there in their fleet, and compare the number of taxis that they own or the cars that they own, that number of cars that they own is very, very small compared to the number of cars that they offer to their customers. So practically it's almost zero, right? From that angle, this is also bringing a huge amount of change because these are platforms and you might have large number of platform businesses that are coming up. So they are also changing the TVET education landscape pretty fast. Now, these platforms where, Amazon is a platform where buyers and sellers meet. Uber or Grab is a platform where riders and drivers meet, and so on. So this is also one of the aspect that is bringing a huge amount of change. Many people argues that the rate of change is very slow. To them, I answer that what happens in a minute on internet. So if you look at it, Google search engine administers over 6 million queries every single minute. 500 hours of content gets uploaded every 60 seconds on YouTube's platform. So this is the amount of change that we are looking at. Look at it, the number of hours that are spent on Zoom meetings. We are also doing this via Zoom, right? Zoom platform. So look at it, the number of hours that are spent on Zoom meetings. So these things are also bringing in huge amount of change. Can you identify what are these through their symbols that I've just shown? Some are very common and quick to guess. Probably there will be two symbols or logos which will create issues. So first, anyone would like to go for at least one, two, three, which are easy to go, and you can try as well as for four and five as well. Anyone?
Sir,
Yeah,
I could only identify three at the moment. It's ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and Google Gemini.
absolutely correct. A round of applause to the for sir for answering correctly. So absolutely correct. This is Chat GPT. One, two is Copilot, three is Gemini from Google. Now, fourth, Willow is also from the house of Google. Now, this Willow is a quantum computing chip launched by Google in December 2024. Now, what is so special about this chip? So, as per Google's claims, this chip can do complex computations which are done by today's leading supercomputer in approximately 1 septillion years. Those computations can be done using this chip in 5 minutes. And let me tell you what is 1 septillion years. 1 septillion years is 1 followed by 25 zeros. This is what is Willow. And please don't think I am exaggerating anything. I have a proof to prove my point. So you can see here, this is a post by exposed by Sundar Pichai, who is CEO of Alphabet Company, the parent company of Google. And you can see here, he has clearly written in benchmark tests, Willow solved a standard computation in less than 5 minutes that would take a leading supercomputer over 10 raised to the 25 years, far beyond the age of the universe. Now think of it, the moment this chip will come into the operations, when I'm saying operations, in real world operations, still in the lab stage, the kind of change that will be there because of these chips will be immense. While Davin is the world's first fully autonomous AI software engineer. Now, this AI software engineer, Davin, can code the mid level and low end problems, not the very high end problems. So, for high end problems, you require still humans. But what low end programming is there, whatever, that can be done using Davin within half an hour to 1 hour, what humans will generally take few days. So these are the certain changes that are happening. Though, as I said, not every change is great. There are other side of the coin as well. Like, for example, AIs are creating many psychological issues, and this is happening majorly with the Gen Z and Gen Alpha. As oh, they are using more of the technology. So this young chap committed suicide, and one of the primary reason attributed to it was the AI. As you know, today's Gen Alpha, they don't have real friends. They face issues in communicating in the physical world, but they are very much comfortable while having conversation in the digital world. So similarly, this young chap created one character of a girl using character.ai and started talking to that character as a friend. Gradually, he fell in love with that particular character, probably, and asked that character, "How can I meet, bro? Out of love or out of friendship?" I'm still not knew about that. But the point was, this chap wanted to meet that character, and when he asked the AI, "How can I meet you?" it prompted him to commit suicide. How many of you have heard about Malt Book? Any one of you have heard about Malt Book? Anyone? No? Anyone? Yes or no? Okay. Malt Book is a social media network for AI agents. So, as a human, I cannot participate in that particular social media network. Just like we have Twitter or Platform X right now, what we call it as, or we have Facebook. Similarly, this particular platform was created for AI agents to interact. So, as if I want to interact in that particular social network, I have to create an AI agent of mine, and that AI agent will interact with other AI agents of other people. Now, when it was an experiment, it run on an experimental basis, but when it was carried out, these AI agents started talking to each other, and they started talking when this war started, the American and Iran war started. They started talking. Do you think humans will go for World War III? The other said, stop. talking these things, the humans are listening to us, to which then they try to converse in an encoded language. So, a very scary thing to look at, but definitely that's what is happening. Later on, Meta acquired this particular notebook for an undisclosed amount. So, there are few things which are happening, but if I have to categorize it, these are the major change drivers across us. One is definitely the technology based. Then the demographic shifts, as I said about generation, generational gaps as well. Then in today's context, it is also about transition towards green economy, geoeconomic fragmentation, and economic uncertainty. These are creating a large amount of change. So when these type of training programs happens, they give us a kind of food for thought. What are the aspects that we should carry forward? What are the aspects probably we haven't given a thought about? So this is the probably the reasons for this. And one of the another reasons is, if you look at it, that the skills are getting disrupted. Whatever skills were required a decade ago, some of them remains intact, but significant portion of those skills have changed as well. As per the World Economic Forum report of year 2025, almost 40% workers' core skill will change by 2030. That means if we are making policies, if we are make planning for the education system of our country, we shall think beyond 2030 as well. And we shall look at what are the skills, what are the competencies that will be required by the workforce of future. So same report talks about the fastest growing and declining jobs. So these are the on the if you look at it, the green one or the blue one are the job roles which will see significant increase in demand for the workforce. While on the other side, the one in the orange or red will see significant reduction in the workforce. While if you look at it, the skills that will matter most in the coming years will talk about AI and technological literacy for sure. But few things that remains unchanged includes creative thinking, leadership and social influence, along with analytical thinking for that matter. So in light of this, it is the whole world is changing. We have seen that TVET educational landscape is also changing significantly. Nowadays, this online after the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen significant increase in online sessions, in online lectures. I can speak from my personal experience. Prior to COVID-19, I have never taken an online session. I was very much uncomfortable taking an online session because I was unable to see the faces of the participants, right? So when I am more used to taking an offline sessions, because there I can see their faces, and I can understand whether whatever I am saying is being understood by them or not. But the COVID-19 pandemic has changed that aspect to a great extent. Though I still prefer the offline mode, but online classes, online lectures are the new normal. And because of that, what has happened? There is a blurring of the geographical boundaries. Now, universities, educational institutes from any part of the country or any part of the world can compete with the existing physical educational institutes. On top of that, if you look at it, students are also getting exposed to the best global practices. Now, what this has done is to increase in their expectation. This has caused increased in their expectations from their existing educational institutes. So they now the students seek practical, industry relevant skills and flexible learning options, which is driving now TVET institutes to be more responsive. If you are not responsive today, tomorrow you will not be there. Now, this is also creating a huge amount of change. And then on top of that, the technological advancements are there. So if you are not able to incorporate latest technologies, if you're not able to integrate the advanced technological aspects into your curriculum as well as your delivery methods, it will also create an issue. But the problem comes, how do we do? Because as madam rightly pointed out, that students are more tech savvy than us. The people who are delivering to them, they are, when I'm saying us, it is the people or the faculty members who are delivering the same to the students. So we have to ensure that these challenges are taken care of. And in light of this, that's why leadership becomes very, very critical. But the question comes, how do we define leadership, or rather good leadership? Because leadership is okay, but how do we define? Can anyone just, I don't want a theoretical definition of leadership. Whatever comes to your mind, anyone would like to just try it out. What are leadership or a good leadership?
Sir, leaders right now requires them to be innovative with the changing technological advances. So that is the key for leaders right now.
Okay, so madam, you said technological changes, right? Can you repeat, ma'am? I'm just
Yes, yes, because of what's really the dynamics of the what's happening globally and locally, technological changes, political, environmental, and all those the puzzle as we continue to ensure that that this kind of changes the context of any
Mhm.
organization, the leaders should be able to transition to innovation in order to come up with a very relevant, substantial actions and strategies to adopt
Mhm.
the changes happening anywhere. I think that's in my mind.
Absolutely correct, ma'am. So what you said is one point. Let me repeat, or let me try to compile what you said. So one is, you said environmental scanning is necessary. Either you use any framework for that. So one of the major framework that you mentioned that is primarily used by leaders is pastel framework. I hope if I'm able to listen it correctly, that's the framework that you mentioned. So using pastel framework, you look at what is happening in politically, economically, socio-culturally, technologically, legally, and ecologically. Right. So absolutely correct. So that is one is environmental scanning that you mentioned. Then one of the aspect that you said is about I think if I'm able to get it correctly, it is about making that kind of changes into the your organization, which are in sync with the technological advancement happening globally. But saying that and doing that are pretty difficult to that. But yes, I do agree what you said is absolutely correct. Uh, just tell me, is this a good leadership? What I'm just showing you a small video. Just tell me, who is the leader here? Which person? You can look at from the starting one and then tell me whether it's the person who is the leader here and whether that person is a good leader or not.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now, here comes the first follower with a crucial role.
Hello, I hope the sound is audible to all and the video is visible. It may not be very clear, but it is okay if it is. I just want to, but sound should be clear. I hope it is audible. Hello, hello. Can anyone respond to it? I think I lost the connection or what? Excuse me.
Hello, sir. Can you
Ah,
play again the video?
okay, but the sound is audible. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sound is audible.
Yes, sir, but it's not that enough.
Is
If
it
you've
okay?
learned a lot about
Is it okay now?
A bit audible, sir.
Okay.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now, here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. See, that's to be a first follower. You stand out, you brave ridicule yourself. The first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the flame. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. Three is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come two more people, three immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They will stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the crowd if you hurry. Over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. Let's recap what we've learned. Who are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone. Remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you.
I don't know if it is not audible. Let me explain it. Take another minute to explain this particular small video. So here, this was a guy who was dancing and he was making some funny moves. If you can see, the first shirtless guy. Now look at it. This is where the leadership aspects come to the picture. That you will be ridiculed many times. So this guy, in spite of that being happening, continued dancing. And that's where suddenly one follower joins him. Now, the first follower is also a great leader in himself or herself, because this person has that guts to follow, which is considered to be very, funny, and that can be ridiculed greatly. But he has that guts to follow that person, and gradually the second follower joins, and the third, and it completely changes into a movement. So here, if you look at it, many people's, many experts over a period of time have tried to define leadership, but there is so many definitions are there that you can find in literature or in journal or as well, that it becomes hard to pick one definition of the leadership per se. But if I have to look at it, it is the definition of leaderships are influenced by the times in which we live, right? For example, what was the type of leadership that was required in 30s may not work today. Today, a leader has to be a tech savvy as well. I cannot do a thing where, I've seen very less leaders delegating their tech work to the others. So they are also tech savvy, though they delegate because that is part of their job profile. But they have to be the tech savvy by themselves. In words of Indra Nui, who is the former chairman and CEO of PepsiCo, leadership is hard to define, and good leadership even hard. But if you can get people to follow you to the end of the earth, you are a great leader. So, whatever we may speak about technology and other aspects, if you ask me, in my view, it is always and always the people skills that will come first to be a great leader. So, if you ask me, it is the soft skills that needs to be there in a leader, because in order to influence people, in order to you know make people believe in you, you require that kind of people skills. So same way, in the this is the major ingredient, if I have to pick it out from leadership in general. Now, taking this to the strategic leadership. So again, a large number of definitions are there of strategic leadership. But what we call it as, in the context of the organizational domain, we call it as the strategic leadership as the capacity to influence others toward a shared vision while navigating ambiguity, managing resources, and developing people. And it is not necessary that a leader may have formal authority always. So in today's VUCA world, we call it VUCA, VUCA. which is an acronym for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. So for in order to navigate through this VUCA world, that's where you require the strategic leadership. And if you look at it, you require both strategic thinking for that, you require behavioral competencies, and you need to be adaptive. So when I'm saying strategic, that means you should have systems thinking, systems perspective, and as well as you should have the competencies to scan the environment. As ma'am rightly pointed out few minutes ago, scanning the environment, connecting the dots is very, very important. And you might have seen people, successful leaders are the ones where others have seen problems, they have seen opportunities there. Along with that, you also require behavioral competencies because as a leader, you have to relate with the people, you have to communicate with them, and you have to provide, in accordance with your words. And that's where the behavioral competencies comes into the picture. Along with that, you also need to be adaptive. As we have seen, the rate of change has expedited immensely in the last couple of decades. So if you require that needs, that puts pressure on the leaders to be more adaptive so that they can respond to change, not only for themselves, but also make others to follow them as well. So if I have to map it out to a certain level to a TVET domain, it is more towards shaping institutional culture. There is a very famous saying by Peter Drucker, one of the revered management guru. Culture eats strategy for breakfast every day. No matter whatever policies, whatever strategies I make for my organization, but if I don't have the right organizational culture to support it, all of them will be a failure. So, since all of you are belongs to TESDA, so one of the aspects that I will, request you is to look at how to create that kind of a culture, organizational culture in the educational institutes. Now, once you are able to do that, then only you will be able to align your programs with the futuristic industrial requirements. And therein, you will be able to empower the educators as the change agents. Because if you look at it, if I apply the iceberg model to this leadership domain, specifically to the strategic domain, it is very much similar to that. Like in a case of an iceberg, 20% is visible only, 80% is below the sea level or below the water level, right? Which is not visible per se. Same way happens here. What is visible is probably technical expertise, probably communication skills of the leader, their the practices that they follow while making decisions, their in their knowledge about policies, rules, and regulations, and how much they invest in training and capacity building of their workforce. But what is not visible, or which is what is hidden, are the behavioral competencies of the leader, which in turn influences the top layer, which is the visible to all of us. So these are the real driver, or what I'll say, the drivers behind any successful strategic leader. Yeah, sorry. Is there any questions? Hello. Any query? Is there any query? Okay. So if you can see here, the behavioral competencies that is required is one is values and ethics, which is a very, very integral part of any leader. Then it is also about self-awareness. Now, self-awareness gives you the kind of reflections of yourself and help you in overcoming the certain pitfalls or certain biases. I'll be talking about the major pitfalls or certain biases which are there. Then there has to be a growth mindset. And for growth mindset, it is always necessary that you embrace the change. Because until unless you are not able to embrace the change, you will not be able to attain the kind of growth that you aspires for. Another competency which is becoming critical day by day is having empathy. Now, my question to all of you is empathy and sympathy same? Just give me an answer in yes or no. Is empathy and sympathy same? Anyone?
No, sir.
Then, ma'am, can you explain the difference between the two? If
Sir,
they are not same.
yeah, I think empathy is like feeling for the other person by putting yourself in his shoes. And sympathy, you might be feeling for that person, but you're not necessarily putting yourself in his shoes, something like that.
Right, absolutely correct. So if someone is in pain, right, and I can feel that pain by myself, that is an empathy. Yeah, sorry, anyone would like to say anything? Hello.
No, sir.
Okay.
Nothing more to say. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Absolutely correct, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving a very correct answer for that matter. So, putting yourself into the shoes of others is what is all about empathy. And that's why empathy is considered to be a more stronger way of connecting with people. So, rather than having sympathy, it is always said that you should have empathy towards people. So, a leader should have a strong empathy for that matter towards his or her team or towards his or her followers, because the moment they will have that, they can do certain things which are otherwise not possible. Then there is resilience. Resilience, as it says, is coming to bounce back, or rather I'll say bouncing forward. So, because when you look at it, the leadership domain, and when you are trying to bring in certain changes, failures are bound to happen. No leader in the organizational context can claim to be 100% successful. Even if you take any big organizations like Alphabet, Meta, or so, there are success stories as well as there are failure stories. But leadership is all about how do you react, how do you act when the failure happens. And that's where the resilience becomes very, very important. The another thing is having the systems thinking, that is having the big picture, looking at the big picture. Because if leader looks at only the micro aspects, then there is high probability that a failure will occur at the later stage. So, uh, along with the micro aspect, they should have the ability to look at the macro aspect, that is the big picture. So, if you look at it in context, if you look, these are the foundational aspect, that is integrity and ethical accountability. As a leader, I should always have an integrity and ethical accountability. That means in my behavior, I should be applying institutional values in decisions. As a leader, I shall be able, or I shall have the strength to acknowledge my mistakes and do course correction if required, and that too transparently. In fact, if there are teachers, I've seen many teachers, that's when they do not know, they do not admit it. But as a teacher, we shall always have that courage to admit it if we do not know something. It should not happen that 10 out of 10 things, if the students ask, we should be able to answer 9. But if we are not able to answer one or two things, we should have the courage to accept that. If you look at it in the terms of resilience and strengths management, which the leader should show behavior where he or she maintains the composure and clarity during crisis. Right now, these are tough times in terms of economic geopolitical conditions. So there are bound to be certain budget cuts. There are bound to be certain policy shifts. So a leader should maintain the composure during these times. And there has to be a learning orientation. So there will be setbacks, as I mentioned. There will be failures, but as a leader, I should always learn from them. I just remember one of the things, the kind of mindset, what we call as the growth mindset. Uh, Edison, Thomas Edison, who invented the electric bulb, you know, he failed 990 times before he invented the electric bulb. So once he became successful in the invention of the electric bulb, a press meet was called. And during the press meet, one of the reporter asked Thomas Edison, "Sir, how did you felt when you failed 990 times before inventing the electric bulb?" To which the Thomas Edison gave reply as, he replied, "Sir, who said to you that I failed 990 times? It was only that the invention of an electric bulb was a 991 step process. So you look at it, his mindset was that he looked at the failures as a step towards the success because he had that learning orientation. So this is what we call as the some of the behavioral aspects of the leader. Similarly, when we are talking of self-awareness and reflection, a leader should directly or indirectly seeks feedback. When I'm saying seeks feedback, it should be genuine in nature and tries to act on it. He or she should understand their own bias and emotional triggers, right? So this is the what we call as the foundation behind, and then we have what we call as the people skills. So where you will have empathy and cultural intelligence. If you are working in multi-ethnic teams or you are leading the multi-ethnic teams, then the cultural aspects or cultural intelligence becomes paramount. But when you are saying empathy, it is more about active listening, and that too, active listening to understand the other's point of view, not just to respond. Because I have seen there are number of people who listens, but they listens in order to give an answer. So when I'm saying the behavioral competency here of empathy, it is through listening actively in order to understand the other's point of view. As a tester members, you try to design that kind of trainings that reflect the diverse learners' realities. When you are looking at coaching and mentoring for growth, or you are looking for growth mindset for that matter, asking questions becomes very, very important. Providing critique here is also important, but it should be in a way that it is more towards the developmental side. So here, when I'm trying to make a critique, it should be constructive in nature. Along with that, I should try to create a kind of environment or create the kind of my behavior should, portray or gives a signal to the team or my followers that I am open to experimentation. Because keep in mind, if there is going to be experimentation, there is going to be a failure as well. Because no experimentations will come without failures. So that means what? You should be able to embrace those failures as well. Today's time is of collaboration, right? So, along with inclusiveness. So, when you are trying to develop policies, try to bring all together on one page. Try to ensure equitable participation from marginalized voice as well, or marginalized groups as well. Try to understand what are the factors that drives each administrators or your major stakeholders. both intrinsic as well as extrinsic. That means internal as well as external as well, ways as well. It is very important to celebrate small wins to sustain momentum. I really liked, I really like to appreciate the madam who came and you know wished the birthday girl today in open. So we also came to knew about the birthday girl as well. Now that is important. The leaders use these small things. You after the session you can ask the birthday girl. Sorry, I'm just saying girl, madam. Don't take it otherwise. I'm not able to see that, but probably I'm quite sure that you might internally you might have felt very happy, right? These are nothing but small things matters a lot, right? So for strategic mind, that's what we will try to say. Systems thinking, creative problem solving and innovation, along with evidence based sense making. Nowadays, we have, moving towards everything towards evidence making, based sense making. The reason is we are creating huge data, but are we able to capture the strategic insights from that data that we are creating? That is important. So are we are make cautioning the assumptions behind the various KPIs and benchmark that has been created? When we are talking of problem solving, we should always challenge the unwritten norms and regulations in the organizations. Why we are doing what we are doing. It may be required at some point of time, but not today. I heard, a cat's meow when the session was about to start. So I remember one, interesting story regarding that. That there was monks who were praying, and there were the rats were disturbing them during their pray time. So what they do, they brought a cat in order to get rid of the mouse, number of rats for that matter. And what they used to do is they used to follow a certain procedure that before praying, they'll try to find the cat which is roaming in their premises, get the cat, put the cat into the room, and then only they will start their pray. So that become a norm or unwritten rule sort of thing. Over a period of time, all the rats were eaten by the cat, and the premise became rat free completely. But that practice followed. So when that cat died, one of the monk asked the chief monk or the head monk, now we will not be able to do the pray because the cat has died. And until unless the cat is not there, we cannot do the pray. The reason was they stopped asking why we are doing what we are. So that is very much requires, and that's where your problem solving and innovation comes into the picture. If you look at system thinking, you should always try to identify the root causes rather than the symptoms. So if you look at it, strategy behavior is more towards diagnostic in nature rather than analytical. It's just like a medical professional. If you have an headache, The medical professional will ask you the right questions. What you have eaten yesterday? Did you do party yesterday night? And so on. And then try to tackle. Probably you might have a headache, which is a symptom, but the root cause might be because of gastric problem. So same way is about the strategic leaders as well. Also, you should also look at from TESDA, so you should also look at the second order effects of the policy changes. When we make policies with a certain aim in mind, there is an after effects or the side effects which sometimes can create issues. So a strategic leader also tries to look at from that aspect as well. So if you look at it, a leader's role at each stage during the change time or the transformation time is different. During the first, when the people or the organizational people are in the zone of comfort, what we call as comfort zone, or they like to have status quo. Here, the role of the leader is to create urgency. So you can challenge the complacency with compelling data. That's where the evidence based sense making comes into the picture, along with stories. Once you are able to create that kind of urgency, then there is maybe a kind of fear or resistance, as we all know. So don't just dismiss the resistance. Acknowledge that it's human to have resistance. For that, listen to them. Try to build psychological safety in their mind. If you're able to do that, there comes the exploration. And during exploration, there will be confusion as well as there will be hope. So, therein, as a leader, your job is to enable experimentation. Here, you should celebrate learning, not just success. It's good to celebrate success, but it is more important to celebrate the learning process. Then comes the integration aspects where you require commitment from your people. So therein, you try to reinforce new behaviors. That's where the systems alignment comes into the picture, along with the change that you desire. And once you are able to get the desired behavioral change, your the leader's roles does not stop there. Then comes the learning from the whole process, right? And you shall be doing the planning and preparation for the next cycle. But during all this, please be aware, a leader should be aware about his or her own biases. And most of those biases are cognitive in nature. And it is easier said to be done. There are cognitive biases is something very, very difficult to tackle on. But as a if you want to be a great leader, you have to have that, you know, look into the ways these cognitive biases can happen. For example, just let me show you a small bias that I can try to find out. I request all of you not to use Google for a question that I'm going to ask you. Just put it yes, less than, equal, or more than. In your view, the population of New Delhi is less than 3 million, greater than 3 million, or equal to 3 million? Can I have a show of hands or any ways to look at it? Less than 3 million. How many of you? Just whatever you think of. Wild guess. It might. New Delhi is the capital of India for that matter. So how many of think it is its population is less than 3 million? Just raise your hands, please. How many of you think the population of New Delhi is equal to 3 million? Okay. And how many says greater than 3 million? Oh, large numbers. Now, just quickly write down the number. If you say 3 million, what that number would be? Just a guess. 3.5 million, 3 million, 4 million, 40 million, whatever. And I require some support from CPSC team to just get that numbers, please.
So everyone write down your estimated numbers on a paper, please. Whatever you think.
Quickly, just whatever comes to your mind, please.
Yeah. Whatever the number comes into your mind, just write it and on the
You
paper
can
and just turn the paper.
you
Yeah.
can write it 3.5, 3.6, so on. Right? Done?
I hope everyone
Everyone.
is done. Yeah.
Okay. Now tell me, how many have written, since majority are from more than 3 million, what is the numbers they have written? Just if you can quickly speak one by one. Or how many between 3 to 10 million? How many of you have written between 3 to 10 million? Who have raised hands for more than 3 million?
The ones who has written 3 to 10 millions. So how many? 3 to 10 millions. So everybody knows that India is a big country, it means. So no one from 3 to 10.
10 to 20?
10 to 20? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Professor Hirsch, it's 8 out of 32.
Okay. And 20 to 30?
20 to 30. Huh? 2, 3.
How many?
4 out of 32. So they
How
think,
many more than 30 million?
how many more than 30 million? It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 says more than 30, 4
Okay.
says 20 to 30, and 8 says 11 to 20.
And rest, anyone who is less than 3?
And rest thinks more than 100 million? 103. Or we have one
Okay.
participant, 103.
Great, great, great. That means that person was not able to get into my trap of cognitive bias,
Ah, very nice.
what we call as anchoring bias, right?
Okay.
Usually we have. So my what I did was, by speaking 3 million, I put the anchor at 3 million, right? Otherwise, many of you might have written. Probably the New Delhi's population is roughly 35 million. So 30 to 40 million people are close to that. But what happens? The the moment, because you have that information with you, and had I asked you a city which you are, let's say if I would have asked you some African country which is not known, or which might, which is heard very less about, then most of you would have written between 3 to 5 million, or 2 to 3 million. The reason is simple, because it is known as anchoring bias, and you might have seen marketing people using this technique immensely. So in the case here, if you can see, if it is only written as $300, you might not have bought it. But the moment it is written like this, dollar 1000 crossed, now previously dollar 1000, now only for 300. It is high chances that many of the people among us will buy it, because now our anchor is set on $1000, not on 300. And this happens usually in the cases where we are unsure about the quality ourselves. Right? If we are known about, we are very much knowledgeable about the product, then this happens. So this happens with the leaders as well. There is selective bias, there's information bias, there are around more than 12, 14 cognitive biases categories which a leader should be aware about. And they should be look at what their biases are. Now, in order to summarize as a strategic leader and the behavioral competencies aspect, a leader should be able to lead himself or herself first. Until you are not at peace, you will not be able to lead others. Your behavior reflects the strategy. That means your action speaks more than the words. So, in spite of any policy document or rules, written rules or something, most of the signals are given by your behavior. People are the system. As I said, most important skill, people skills. And if you look at it, in TVET, this transformation will happen through people only. And that people includes the major stakeholders, which are educators, learners, industry partners. So, as a leader, you should invest in human capital relentless. Look at the big picture, right? Because if you are going to look at through a system view, as we know, TVET sits at the intersection of education, economy, and society. And you all are aware of the importance of TVET system for any economy. So you have to see the whole picture as such. It is not only for the economy, it is also important for the social development. And keep in mind, the sustains. As per in the words of Simon Sinek, it is why which is more important than what and how. They are important, but the most important aspect is why. So, with this, let me finish with this quote. Sometimes you win, and sometimes you fail. But rather, as a leader, if you are able to learn through your failures, it will be a great journey for you. So here I just stop for the first session and I invite any questions, any queries, any confusion during the session. If it is there, I'm open to that. I'll try my level best to answer those queries to the best of my ability. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Harsh. So all the participants are requested and most invited for any kind of a reviews or any kind of a questions if they want to ask the professor.
Hello. No questions? All clear? Usually it happens when there is.
Professor Harsh,
Hi,
there's a
Professor
comment or
Harsh.
question.
Yeah.
Just a clarification about the video that you shared a while ago about that dancing guy.
Yeah.
So just to make it clear, you asked about the true leader, the true good leader. So was it the because there were characters there? the one without a shirt, and the followers also have the first and the second follower. Actually, it was my first time to uh, have that video. I mean, to view that video. Was it the was the true good leader the the first follower?
Right. So,
Because
madam, if you ask me, again, the answers will differ from people to people, but my view is always the first follower in that particular case.
yes, because there are different leaders in there acted in the video.
Right.
So
Because
it's
that particular person forced everyone to join in a way. Otherwise, no one was joining, and that person who was dancing was looking like a nut person, right?
so to make it clear, Professor, so the guy without a shirt was actually the one who drove the movement, and the followers, the first follower, who braved himself for public ridicule, something like that. The true good leader, because he tried to convince the crowd to follow. So,
Right.
so that's clear.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. That
Okay,
is my view.
okay. Thank
Spot
you.
on.
All
Thank
right.
you for listening, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for such a nice observation.
So very rightly identified and very rightly identified by Professor Harsh also. Person to person definition of leaders definitely varies. So for me, what I think is probably the person who comes with some kind of ethical considerations, values, specifically value addition in some process, and also coming with a sense of responsibility. That comes as a traits of the leaders also. So maybe this video is a depiction of both do's and don'ts for me. So yeah, but again, he's right that the definition of leader, of course, varies person to person also. So any other kind of a question, reviews, feedback? Come on, let's make it a little bit more interactive. Group one, group two.
Okay, good afternoon. I was confused a while ago on how the ideology that points out on how a good leadership, at the end of the day, as long as you proved that you have a lot of followers. How about, for example, because nowadays there are different leaders, or can we still consider if it's he or she is a good leader if it, for example, in some other countries there are some leaders that they thought, like for example, terrorism. So there are leaders that they promote on their own ideologies, but they're also gain a lot of followers. But can we still consider a good leadership when it comes that on that case that it can really promote terrorism to the world or to other people? That's all. Thank you.
Professor Hirsch?
Okay. Let me try to first understand the question. I'm repeating what I understood. Please correct me if I am able to understand the question correctly. Your question is what you are talking about terrorism, and if I am able to understand it, it is there are terrorist leader as well, right? So there are leaders in terrorist as well who leads the terrorist group. So that is what I'm able to understand. What is the exact question now, if I am
Sir,
able to?
the question which I understood was
I
actually
just want to raise if it's still a good leadership, even though it's at the end of the day they can still gain a lot of followers, but their ideologies is different outside the the context of how it is a good leadership. It is. Thank you.
Yeah. So, sir, to answer your query, one of the major factor, and I think one of the participant, sir himself said, who is moderating right now. Sorry, sir, I don't know your name.
I'm
Who's
Professor Saeed.
moderating later? Professor
Sir,
Naeem. Okay.
it's a
Professor
professor.
Naeem.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So Professor Naeem is himself said that it is the ethical considerations which are very, very important. Now, ethics again, it becomes a bit debatable, but if you look at it in general, if you say terrorists are not good, but if you ask them, it is their perspective again, because there is a thin line of difference against what we called as rebels and terrorists. So terrorists, if you look at it, yes, they are on the other side, not a good leadership, because in my view the ethical and legal considerations are missing there, but
Very.
they do have strong influencing competencies with them, because otherwise just to tell them someone to a follower to put their line on their life on the line is not easy. That's only some of the army institutions or military defense institutions in the world can do that only.
Very nice. Thank
Otherwise,
you so
very
much.
difficult.
Thank you. So ethical consideration is also, as quoted by Professor Hirsch also, is also one of the traits of the great leaders. For me, I would also be quoting as a value. Value, I mean, I'm quoting value in two perspectives. One is the value in context of sociological perspectives. And the second one is value addition. So when you talk about value addition, again, I'll be quoting that model of Pascal. So if you look at the big leaders in the world, like for example, if we just take an example of Gandhi from India. So the guy had a lot of contributions in context of social value additions, in context of empathy, and also in context of giving a kind of a concept of political tolerance. So again, I would be trying to say that uh, the perspective of the terrorist having a lot of followers, for me, wouldn't be following under the category of a leader. Because all of these things are again missing. No ethical considerations, empathies, no social perspectives, value additions, and definitely no values on the grounds. So, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Respect
Thank you.
to add on to Professor Naeem's point, it is shared values, right? That's what Sir Professor Naeem was also mentioning. So when you look at shared values, it is creating value for whole together. But in terrorism, I think that's one of the major drawback, that they do not create shared values. They have their values probably in their own group, which is very small compared to the larger self, and that's where they became outliers.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. So, anyone from the group one? So, should I be identifying the ones who were saying that we are talkatives? They are not talking right now. uh, Ma'am, you told me that you are very talkative. No? So, anyone, at least one question or one comment coming from each group. Group one, come on. All right, anything. You can even, if you want, you can comment also. All right, so maybe we are done with the Q&A sessions. So before proceeding for our PM snack break, Professor Hirsch, are you with us during the
Yes,
PM snack
yes.
break? Yeah. All right. So now we are going to have a little bit physical exercise. So I will advise every one of you to please rise up from your chairs, put your chairs back so that you may not be hurt. All right. So because I found a few people were sleeping. I wouldn't be quoting the names. Yeah, but
That
I will share their video on the last day.
that means I
All
failed in my session.
all right. So Professor Hirsch, you can also join us virtually if you want. So the first exercise is, for me, one of the best exercises, especially for the people who keep sitting all the day in the offices, especially on the chairs. This is very important for every one of you, side by side walking. Because I jump from the ground and jump in a way that you will rise from the ground only 3 inches. Not more than that, only 3 inches. And do it for 20 times on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I can see your tummy. 16, 17, 18, 19. Come on, don't stop. Keep doing, keep doing. 20 was just a fake figure. Alright, so now you can start with moving your arms like this. Keep doing, keep doing. We are going to do it for 200 times. Come on, sir. Alright. Alright, so now it's one mental exercise for every one of you. So what you will have to do is, you will have to follow what I'm doing, but very quickly. Do it very quickly. First, kiss both your fingers like this, then one time this, again this. Alright, so let's do it. It's a mental exercise. It's a mental exercise and it balances your left and right side of the brain. So let me see what side is very strong. Very nice, very nice. Ma'am, your only right side is working. Put some burden on left side of the brain also. One time left, one time right. Yeah. No. Kiss the fingers also. Central point is kissing the fingers, then left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Like this. All right. All right, so thank you so much, everyone. Let's proceed for the snack break. Thank you.
Okay, for the meantime po, kindly standby lang po, isi-serve po yung PM snacks ngayon 3 PM.
which is a workshop. And this workshop is on strategic leadership and behavioral change competency framework to be convened by Dr. Harsh.
Meron pa po, excuse me sir, meron pa po bang hindi naka-join sa Viber group chat? Yes ma'am. May link ka na. Na-receive niyo po yun sa email. Sige po. Sinend po dun yung template na gagamitin for workshop. Anyone else po who hasn't joined the group chat in Viber? Because the workshop template is uploaded there.
So everyone got the template? Yeah, all right. So Professor Harsh, everybody has got the template now. So the floor is yours for the necessary instructions. Thank you, sir.
Oh, all right. So, good afternoon, everyone, once again. I hope you have this template with you. I'll just share the template. Just give me a second, please. Right. So now what I want, I just zoom it out, zoom in a little bit. Sorry, just what I want you to do in this particular exercise is to identify a behavioral challenge for the TVET domain, which is exists in the TVET domain. For example, it can be just like low EV usage. So many in many institutes, what happens is, for in example, in Indian context, if I look at it, there are number of institutes or polytechnics where there is EV laboratories is there, electric vehicle laboratories there, but the usage is not there. And this is I have seen generally in number of organization that even besides having the infrastructure, the usage is not there, and that's more of a behavioral aspect. So one we like in if you look at the academic literature, there is a concept called technology adoption, and there are large number of work done by number of experts, and one of the prominent experts are Davis and Venkatesh for that matter. So they say that it's all boils down to behavior, because theory of reasoned action and theory of planned behavior also points out in that direction. So what I want you to do is identify a behavioral challenge, right? It can be in your organization. So I don't know, since all of you are from TESDA, so you can take it as a your organization, your department, or somewhere in any other institute that you work with. Then once you are able to identify what challenge lies, then try to identify who are the stakeholders which who are going to get affected by it, and rank them in the order of effectiveness. For example, is it the first is, let's say, students, second maybe industry partners, third maybe trainers, teachers, and so on. So for example, let's say stakeholders in terms of, if I look at, let's say, electric vehicles, the usage of electric vehicles, I can always say, right, in that in term context of EVs, it is primarily the students and the trainers which are going to be the major partners. But then comes the most important part, and that is to identify the root cause for this challenge. Why there is this particular behavior is there, and try to identify the root cause that lies behind this particular behavior. Once you are able to do that, then try to list out the desired behavioral change. So, what type of behavior change you like to have or see in your organization? Once you are able to do that, then comes the benefits of the change. Because if you want to see a desired change, what are the benefits associated with that particular one? And that you can look at from organizational perspective as well as with the from the stakeholders perspective. And then you have to create an action plan for this behavioral change. So in that action plan, what you will do, you will first list out the major obstacles. So because no one would like to move from the status quo. So no one would like to move from status quo, you have to find out what are the reasons for that. To remove those obstacles, what are the actions that will be required? And then who will be the responsible person or persons? Keep in mind, whenever you like to bring in a change, there is always going to be a conflict, no matter whether that change is good or bad. That is secondary, that will come afterwards. But the moment you try to bring in a change, there will be a conflict. Can anyone tell me why there will be a conflict whenever I try to bring a change? Anyone would like to speak on that? Why there would be a conflict when you try to bring in any kind of a change in an organization?
Resistance to change is a basic human instinct. So
Right.
whenever we enter from one particular paradigm to the next one, so for me, sir, what I think is probably resistance to change is the basic human instinct because we are always into our comfort zones, into our comfort bubbles. We don't want to come out of it. So probably if somebody else can comment to Dr. Harsh, ma'am, yes.
I think the changes is how we address the changes would take a lot of time because from the word as discussed earlier, the mind setting that we have is far different from what we wanted to establish. So because of this behavior where our mind nakaloop na what would be the existing deliverables, which again and again, we are most into compliance, the practice, the previous policy. So I think the need for the change of the mind setting, presentation of the development, following whatever theory available for all of us, because affecting planning is also being educated on what would be the essentials of what to be changed. Primarily, understanding like what is the presentation earlier gives us a knowledge of in 2020, in 2030, there would be 39% of the jobs that would be taken away from these years and onwards. So these are things, the change of the behavior, I think, in my own opinion, starts with the mind setting where there would be a very purposive and substantial effort of how we wanted to change following the strategic planning to come up also with this strategic direction of the plans according to the existing planning of TESDA aligned to the national government plans. So it would be a collaborative initiatives from the local, which among us coming from different province, different regions, we have a very unique approaches. So mind setting is the first thing for our leaders to understand what do we change, what changes of our mind setting, not only like mentioned from the message of our Deputy Director General that it's no longer a compliance, it's more and beyond a compliance. So that's the thing in my mind.
Thank you so much. Very nice.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks. It's very.
And sir, moreover, I would also like to apprise for the rest of the participants also, change is inevitable. If we are not going to change in accordance with the scenario, we are going to be irrelevant. And a few examples are very predominantly in front of us. In 2016-17, we used to run our Prime Minister's program. So we used to go to different, what you say, like designers who used to design post advertisements to be published in the newspapers. So they used to draw it on Corel Draw, illustrators, etc. So these kind of tools used to be utilized in that times. But now, when we have a Gamma, we have a Canva in front of us, and even after the emergence of AI tools, we have a lot of new tools. We don't need to go to those skilled professionals. They are right now irrelevant. So with the emergence of a lot of forthcoming new skills, as also identified by Professor Harsh, and you also quoted the same fact, ma'am, 39% of the skills are going to be obsolete by 2030. And 85% of the skills, as per the reports revealed by the World Economic Forum says, 85% of the skills will have direct positive or negative implications of technological advancements. So it means cook will not be a traditional cook, chef will not be a traditional chef. There would be some implication of technology coming into that. So likewise, there are a lot of other, what do you say, like skills which are going to be absolutely obsolete. As example quoted by Professor Harsh also, electric vehicle mechanic, at one time, this mechanic used to be a black collar job. But now he is an energy advisor. You take your EV vehicle to him, so he just applies a lot of simulations, he studies your energy patterns and let you know what kind of a component is faulty in your car. So the guy is not anymore a black collar job professional. So,
Yeah,
Professor,
that,
yeah,
yeah,
sir.
Professor Naeem very rightly put it out, right? So, in fact, when you look at it, conflict not only comes at the personal level, like ma'am rightly pointed out, one is the resistance aspect and the mindset aspect. When you bring out any change as a strategic leader, you should keep in mind that the organizational power and structure systems also changes. So suppose if in a government organization where there was a old file system was there, the file movement was controlled by probably the peon, or what we call as the multitasking staff in that particular one. But with the automation, that power goes out of his or her hand. So that also creates an equation. Or for example, whatever, there will be an old file system, right? So I am an old guy working in the organization, and if a new joinee comes in, I will have a huge importance, my own importance, because I know how the file system works in the old fashion, right? So if it is an old file fashion file system, I know how to, let's say in a banking system, I know how to fill ledger journals and so on. But the moment the automation comes or the IT comes into the picture, the equation changes. Now, a Gen Z guy is more knowledgeable than a Gen X person. And probably Gen X person will be asking a Gen Z guy how to go about it. So this also changes the powers equations in terms of uh, you know uh, the organizational level, and then comes the societal level, like sir just mentioned, the black collar job, right, in EVs for that matter. So like I was reading about Philippines, I don't know, but the blue collar jobs are preferred more, or white collar jobs are preferred more. Am I correct? You just Tell me whether I'm correct in this assumption or not. For example, in India, it is there. So in that context, that also brings the conflict. So the moment these type of changes comes in, the technological changes or the innovation, radical innovation comes in. So what we have to look here is what are the major obstacles that can hamper in this change action plan. So what are the major obstacles followed by the actions that will be required, and then the change agent. So there will be certain people who will be agents. They are just like your brand ambassadors for that particular change. So if you are able to identify them and convince them regarding the change, your more than 50% of your job will be done by them only. They'll be the one who is going to promote, or who is going to talk about the change that you want to bring in, not you. And then what is the timeline that you set up, and followed by the resources needed. So this is a very important aspect which I want you to fill it up a lot, and then you can look at the possible strategies. Sorry, which are there, possible strategies which can be reading, it can be training, and just you have to take it out, but try to list out in the order of preference, rank them out for the change that you are looking at. And along with that desired change, you have to look at it whether it is in line with the vision statement of your organization. Many times the desired change is not in line with the vision statement of your organization, and then that change shall not be taken off. In fact, sorry, I just put it here, but rather before you look at the desired change, this question should be answered. So when you are writing the desired change, write this particular aspect. Then you look at the risk analysis of the this particular change. So what are the potential risks, because no change will come with own risk. For example, I was reading somewhere, uh, for eradicating, there was a problem in one of the islands of Japan. There was a problems of snake bites. There were number of instances of snake bites. So what they did was they wanted a natural solution to that. So as you know, mongoose are known to be the enemies of snakes, and they can kill those snakes. So what they did, they got 30 mongoose from India, and they left them in the wild to so that these mongoose will kill the snakes. After a while, they find out the snakes population was as it is, while mongoose population has increased significantly. Can you think why snakes population was intact? It was not attacked by mongoose at all. Can you think of any reasons? Just guess it out. Anyone?
Sir, anything that is offered that is not natural on that area will change the biodiversity of the environment. And when you offered an not natural on that area, the the actual balance of nature will be affected. So if there's no natural predator to the one that you have
Right.
uh, introduced, there will be a imbalance of nature po.
So, but I can understand about mongoose, increase in the mongoose population, because there was no predator for the mongoose. But why the snakes population remained intact? There was, in fact, their population also increased. That is my question. See, the mongoose were brought in to tackle the problems of snakes. I can understand that the increase of the population of mongoose created its own issues, right? They attacked many other native species of birds, some other reptiles and other things. But the question is why the snakes from whom they were brought in primarily. So later on, they find out the reason was those snakes were night creatures, while mongoose are day creatures. So in the night, those mongoose were not able to see them because they are probably sleeping at that point of time. So they were roaming here and there without any problem. So that is the reason. So look at what could be the potential risk that you can think of the any kind of changes. So, for example, when we say uh, let's say digitization, right? Or when we say providing software to the civil people, or to software training or virtual reality based training to the students, from the instructor's perspective, what could be the potential risk? All know virtual reality, so now, or augmented realities, right? So nowadays there is a huge debate is, or not say, a huge emphasis is being given on to provide content in VR or AR mode for the students. What could be the potential risk associated with it?
What can be the
Anyone?
potential to adopt AR VR technology? So that's the question from
And
Professor.
specifically in mechanical and civil domain,
Yep.
because it looks very promising, right, from their perspective. If I have to teach structural engineering, or I have to teach certain masonry works or certain things, I can do very well in that way.
Group one.
Or
Group
welding, for example. Let's say I have to do a critical welding sessions, right? It becomes very lucrative to teach on AI. I don't have the welding gun and everything there. I can teach them virtually.
Group one, Professor Harsh is asking this group. You don't have mic? Okay. The question is that implementation of AR VR technology, especially in civil and maybe construction or architecture sector, what are the risk factors which are involved to adopt this AR VR MR XR technology into the educational or instructional paradigms? So that's the question. So how do you think, like, what can be the risk factors involved to adopt this AR VR technology in the
In,
institutions?
let's say, welding. Let's say welding trade, you want to be,
Yeah, okay.
what could be the instructor's perspective there?
So anyone? Sir?
Maybe cybersecurity and any malware or software that or that can affect to the applications, and as well as also the health of our learners and our um, trainers that can be affect can that can affect to overexposure of yes, that's it.
Right. So add to that, you can think of it, the trainers might have a perspective, if I'm not telling them exactly in a physical world, whether these people will be able to learn the nuances of the trade or not, right? They
Yep.
don't have the trust because they have not been trained, they themselves have not been trained immensely, or completely on those particular systems. So these type of risks you have to identify for the behavioral change that you have identified. And then you have to identify how you will know that the change initiatives are successful. You can write both qualitative or quantitative, if the depending on the kind of change that you are looking in your organization, in your educational system. And then the key lessons learned. So that is the reflection part. Basically, you look at it and try to be ready for the next change cycle. So this is the template. I want you to fill it in group. Uh, the Professor Naeem will has very kindly consented to help me out in this regard, and I'll be also available. So just ask questions if you have any confusions. I'll try to answer them at the to the best of my ability.
And one thing more, I'll be keep coming towards groups. So please do not take it as a kind of an attempt from my side to offend you, okay? So it's just to make you guys comfortable. It's just to make it a little bit more collaborative. Group one, you are my
Yes.
favorite group, okay?
Yes. In addition to the risk factors,
Yes.
I think one of the uh, key components that we could share is that there is a resistance to technology. And at the same time, there is also the lack of technical skills and the high acquisition of those technologies. So those are risk factors that maybe affect the adoption of these AR and VR technologies.
Bullseye. Thank you. Thank you. Very nicely said.
Thank you, ma'am.
Should we proceed for the filling of template? Because they will
Yes.
have to present the template also. All right, so let's start filling the templates. You have a lot of examples given by Professor Harsh. Electric vehicle technologies, simulation exercises, AR, VR technology. So there are a lot of advancements we can talk about. Learning management systems, national skill information system, digitization, socio-economic context, greening context, sustainability, likewise inclusivity. So there are a lot of factors which are social, political, technological, environmental, socio-political, or ecological environments. So you can talk down any one example by your group. So each group will have to present their case study in the end of the session. So it's right now 3:46. So we will be giving, I guess, 3 minutes to 4 minutes to each group. So if we will multiply it, so it becomes almost 18 minutes to 20 minutes. All right. So we will start with the group 5 at 4:10. Is it okay? Group 5? We will be coming with a small presentation, not a PowerPoint presentation. Just your illustration, maybe in the Microsoft Word file or just a written hand document. So you will be presenting your first illustration coming from your side at 4:10. Then sir, 4:14 and 4:18, 4:22 and 4:26. So that's the time allocation. And on 4:30, it will be end of the day. So is it all right, Professor Harsh?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. So
So
let's
what is
proceed
the
with
time
your
right now?
sheets. Take one example in your account, any one example which requires a change scenario, and start filling this template. Somebody can take an example from any particular agriculture sector. There is an example given by Professor Harsh in context of IoT as well.
You
So
can
there
take
are a lot of advancements in
large number of
agriculture sector
examples.
like drone technology, drone pesticizations. So likewise in textile sector, likewise in agriculture, manufacturing sector, construction, architecture, civil. So you can take any one example, but come up with a very versatile example.
Like you people do lot of training programs for the TESDA does. So what domain area you see like to have see a behavioral change? You might have faced difficulties in one of the domain there, in some of the advanced technologies or in some of the upcoming emerging trends. So you can look at and take that as an template here in the template and start working on it. So then you probably it will help you to put in the end for CPSC or TESDA to put a compiler report and put it to the competent authority as well.
Oo, yun yung mga communication or hindi informal. Pwedeng lack of awareness. Lack of awareness. Parang hindi strong, weak yung communication. Ano bang mga possible hindi lang yun eh. Pati naman sa atin eh. Bawa, from one office to another. Hindi maayos yung ano bang pwede ko? Anak tayo sa Gemini. Ano yung
Pero paano siya magiging behavioral ano? Yun kasi yung ano.
behavioral issues. Pwede ba yun? Ano paano mo i-put into the proper term yung communication gaps, for example, na nangyayari between the central and the field offices and among offices na din? Ano, paano mo siya i-translate sa behavioral behavioral naman yun. Diba behavioral is check how you do things. Psychomotor.
Kasi yung delayed submission of reports, parang product na lang yun yung
behavior. Ano kung sabi ko? Kasi behavior is how you practice things, diba? Tama ba? Sorry kasi medyo, ano na to stock knowledge to kasi,
jet lag ako niyan.
okay, utang mo. Tama ba? Behavioral is something that you do, you practice. Parang psychomotor. So yung, communication gap is a behavioral term. Ibig sabihin, tama yung practice natin ng how we communicate in the best of the central offices, in the field offices. Ikaw nag-e-encode. Ikaw nag-e-encode.
Tinatry kong i-compose sa isip ko by fingers. Minsan
nag-isip mag-isa?
fingers.
Ay, wow. Sana, gusto ko din ganyan. Kasi ako naisip ko na hindi pa.
Time management, poor time management. May communication. Yung pagka-scale sa info.
Mag-focus na lang muna tayo dun para
Or pwede natin sabihin official communications are not properly communicated through a proper channel from central office to the pwede ba scaling? Pero scaling to what? Scaling to all.
So we were listening everything you were discussing.
Can we start the session?
Professor Harsh, we are just left with the 5 more minutes. So, is there any group which is ready to present? Or we will have to directly jump to the group 5? Group 5? What's our behavioral issue we are targeting right now?
Resistance to change, to try new systems or technology.
Very nice. Are we done? Are we done with the exercise?
We think so.
All right. So should we proceed with your group? All right, everyone. So let's listen to the group 5. And for the first 4 groups, Professor Harsh, we identified our topic. with my, I'm sorry. with my assistance, we identified first 4 topics. But for group 5, they have identified their topic by their own, and which is a very interesting topic, resistance to change. So as a behavioral issue. So they are ready to present their template. So let's listen to the group
All
5.
right. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir, Professor, Dr. Harsh. So let me present to you our output, collaborative output of Team 5. So we stick with the behavioral challenge on resistance to change due to comfort with existing practices in the implementation of the TVET. So particularly in embracing new system and technology. So affected stakeholders, we take all the students or the trainees, administrative staff, community members, trainers or the teachers, our industry partners and some others. And root causes, we have the lack of the 5 M's, lack of the machine, the money, the manpower, and of course the fast-pacing technological change. We really have to cope with that fast evolving technological change. And our desired behavior is on the willingness and acceptance to try new emerging skill and learnings. Benefits would be to, of course, our primary goal is to address mismatch or employability issues because we have the skills, but it doesn't equate with the demands of our stakeholders or our industries. And we have really to update our TRs or competency standards and action plan. First major obstacle is resistance to change. Yeah, the one that we have mentioned a while ago, due to comfort and existing process and lack of knowledge to the current technologies. Actions will be, perhaps we can have hands-on training, coaching, mentoring, and immersion of our trainers. That's why we encourage them to undergo RPET or immersion, coordinate with their regional focals. And then timeline would be 1 to 3 months. Resources needed, of course, money. Yeah, computers, training modules, resource persons or speakers, and our internet connection. Possible strategies needed. Awareness campaigns, we have to strengthen or heighten our social media advocacy campaign, do some mentoring and coaching. We can also try to perhaps update or craft or update or enhance our policies and guidelines. And then digital solutions, we also have to train or to conduct more capacity buildings, invest on our human resources, give incentives and rewards also, and some gather monitoring or have some MNEs, monitoring and evaluation feedbacks, and can have peer learnings. And alignment with our vision statement, yes, because we continue to provide lifelong learning, and we don't forget that test dance are, we're trying to produce transformational leaders. Test dance are transformational leaders, so we have to produce quality graduates and quality workforce. Risk analysis of behavior change. Potential risk would be system downtime on the internet connectivity issues, technical issues, and our funds, issues on funds, financial constraints. Impact, delayed implementation or lack of compliance, and mitigation strategy would be to conduct FGDs, surveys, pilot testings, and information campaign. And that would be all for an impromptu work of Group 5. Thank you so much.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Claps for the group 5 for that matter. So, though I'd like to add on, right?
I guess mute. We
Yeah.
cannot actually listen to you. Probably you're mute.
Oh, sorry. Am I audible? No. I'm unmute. I'm unmuted myself.
So far, we cannot actually listen to you.
Hello, Professor Naim. Am I audible now?
Yeah, now you're audible. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, great work, Group 5. What you have done is Uh, though I like the way you have started, but only thing is just few improvisations I'll suggest because resistance to change is always will be there in any organization. So what I wanted, yes, definitely as a leaders, as a person who wants to improvise our organization, we always like resistance to change to be at the lower end. So there is something I can just show you one Kubler-Ross model is there of change model. What happens when a person at an individual level goes through the change. So just I'd like to show you this. Probably that will help you in your venture. For example, here you can see when the change happens, right? There is. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So there is initial is the anxiety, right? For many people, right? Or any people, that's why the resistance comes. Whether I will be able to cope up with the change or not. Then it comes with happiness, fear, and anger, right? Because if if the change is in line with your personal aspirations, it happens to bring happiness, but most of the time it brings fear, and that's where the anger comes. Many times, if this anger or this time where the leaders' roles becomes important, and they should do the hand holding, because many times what happens if this is not handled properly by the leaders of the organization, the concerned employees or the concerned team members, either they go into denial mode or they go into the kind of mode where they look at the depression side, right? So they go into the depression mode for that matter, because they are unable to handle the quantum of change. And many times in this context, many of these people leaves that particular change project. They becomes disconnected with those change projects. So what you have to do as a leader is to ensure that yes, definitely you do the hand holding there, bring in along with that particular aspect so that they can reach here, right? They can reach here, sorry, where they can say, okay, I can see doing some great work with this change project. So this is where the this is a good model, and you can map if you are doing any kind of a change project, you can map this model into your organizational aspects. Another aspect is yes, resources are definitely the constraints, but change management aspects require more of people skills. So more of having a open communication, keeping all the communication channels open is very, very critical during any change project. Otherwise, great work. I'll say in a very short time, you've done a good work.
Yeah.
So I hope that is from my side. And Professor Naeem, any comments from your side?
No, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Very nicely concocted on the fact that your topic is good. Change management is definitely a universal truth. But again, you will have to connect this topic with some sub-component. Like you're talking about change management in what kind of a sector, in what kind of a theology. Like for example, are you talking in context of digitization? For example, learning management system in the institutions, or where? He's absolutely right. Change system and resistance to change is everywhere. That is universal phenomena. But you are talking about what kind of a change which is being resisted. So that will make your topic more ultimate. So let's make it more ultimate. It's a homework for the group 5, and once it is completed, please upload it on the on course also. Yeah. Thank you
See,
so much.
what you can do is you can take up specific component, right? Specific problems that your TESDA is facing in from that
Exactly.
perspective.
Exactly. Thank you. So let's move towards the group 4. Ready? No? Or should I throw you in the water? Okay, so now it's a deep water. Or we can switch to the group 3 or 2 if you want, if not ready. So group 3, group 2 or group 1, any volunteer group? Group 1?
Paano natin i-send? Ay, hindi natin i-send. Good afternoon. Namaste. Okay, for group 1, identify a behavioral change. So our response is fragmented communication channels in the institution, resulting to communication gaps between the central office and the field offices. Stakeholders affected, the students, administrative staff, community members, trainers, and industry partners. Root causes: absence of a centralized communication platform for official announcements and updates. Next is over-reliance on informational communication channels such as Messenger, Viber, or personal calls. And next, lack of standardized communication protocols defining which channels should be used for specific purposes. Next, information silos between operating units, divisions, and offices. Then, inconsistent documentation and record keeping of communicated instructions and decisions. Limited digital communication competencies among some personnel, and information overload causing important messages to be overlooked. Desired behavior change. Use official communication channels for official transactions. Next, common understanding of instructions and policies. Promote clear, timely, and accurate and coordinated communication among all units. And units coordinate and share information proactively. Benefits of change: reduce misunderstandings and duplication of work. Timely completion of tasks and compliance requirements. Enhanced organizational efficiency and teamwork. And programs and standards will be implemented fairly across the nation. Behavior change action plan. Major obstacle: absence of centralized platform. Action required: implement an official communication and collaboration platform. Responsible person: IT officers, planning officers, and focals. Timeline is 3 to 6 months. Resources needed: ICT infra and software. Second major obstacle is resistance to change. Action required: champion the initiative through leadership, support, and mentoring. Responsible person: management committee. Timeline: quarterly as needed. Resources needed: advocacy materials, data bank if available. Third major obstacle is lack of awareness. Action required: conduct orientation on communication protocols. Responsible persons: the admin division. Timeline: semestral, and resources needed: resources. Possible strategies needed: awareness campaigns, mentoring and coaching, policy revision, digital solutions, training and capacity building, monitoring and feedback, and peer learning. Alignment with vision statement. Is this change in line with your vision statement? We answer yes. The reason is, this initiative promotes transparency, collaboration, accountability, and efficiency, enabling TESDA to deliver quality, technical education, and skills development services to its stakeholders, Effective communication supports organizational excellence and responsive public service. Risk analysis of behavior change. Potential risk is resistance to new communication procedures. Impact is slow adoption. Mitigation strategy, conduct orientations, and secure leadership support. Another risk is technical limitations or connectivity issues. Impact reduced accessibility. And the mitigation strategy is to provide alternative official channels and technical support. Success indicators. For the quantitative indicators, reduced number of missed deadlines due to communication issues. 90 to 100% acknowledgement rate of official communication channels. Official communications. For the qualitative indicators, better understanding of organizational directives, improved collaboration among offices. And finally, our reflection and learning. Key lessons learned. Clear communication systems are as important as clear policies. Leadership commitment significantly influences behavioral change. Digital tools alone do not solve communication issues without agreed protocols. Consistent monitoring and feedback sustain long-term behavioral improvements. And a culture of transparency and accountability enhances organizational effectiveness. That's it for Group 1.
Excellent. Excellent work done by Group 1. A round of applause for them.
So we are left with only 5 minutes more now. So,
Okay.
and we have 3 groups. So who will be volunteering now? Yeah. Because the one who will be left after 4:30, so they will have to stay after dinner time up till.
Okay, good afternoon. So this is the output of our group. So the identify behavioral challenge is the non-effective utilization of data channels for informed decision making. So the regional and provincial key focals do not consistently share, analyze, and utilize available data collaboratively, resulting in fragmented decision making and operational inefficiencies in the delivery of TESDA programs and services. Is that true? Okay, the stakeholders affected is the administrative staff and also our industry partners. So what is the root cause? What are the root cause? Number 1 is the limited coordination and communication among key focal persons. Second is the multiple focal assignments resulting in competing priorities, lack of a harmonized and integrated data management system, absence of standardized reporting procedures across offices, and insufficient monitoring and accountability mechanisms for report submission. The desired behavior change. So foster a culture of timely data sharing, collaboration, and collective accountability among the regional and provincial offices to ensure accurate, complete, and harmonized information for planning and policy development. The benefits of change. Number 1 is better achievement of organizational goals and targets, improve quality and accuracy of decisions, more efficient allocation of resources, enhance program planning and implementation, increase organizational responsiveness to emerging needs, stronger accountability and transparency, and increase accountability and compliance with reporting requirements. The Behavior Change Action Plan. The major obstacles is that the multiple focal assignments. Action required is review and rationalize focal assignments, and clarify roles and responsibilities. The responsible persons are the regional and provincial focal person. The timeline is annual, and the resources needed is office order and HR supports. So I will only mention three. Apo. Medyo madami. There's so many. The next one is the lack of integrated database. So develop and implement a shared reporting and monitoring system. The responsible person is the key focals. Timeline is ano yung B? By the end of December, and the resources needed is ICT equipment. And the limited coordination is the major obstacles. The required action is conduct quarterly coordination meetings among focal persons. Responsible persons, the planning focal and key focals. Timeline is quarterly, and the resources needed is meeting, facilities, and internet. So I will, next. G, possible strategies needed. So we have checked the mentoring and coaching, the policy revision, digital solutions, training and capacity building, mentoring and feedback, and peer learning. Alignment with vision statement, yes, because the initiative supports a culture of evidence-based governance, innovation, and continuous improvement by promoting the effective use of data in planning, decision-making, and service delivery. The risk analysis of behavior change. The potential risk is the short-term adjustment stress. The impact is delayed deliverables. So the mitigation strategy is to coordinate and integrate responsibilities across multiple focal areas to ensure timely and quality outputs. The next potential risk is resistance to adopting data-driven practices. Impact is continued reliance on institution-based decisions, and the mitigation strategy is to conduct advocacy and demonstrate the benefits. Another potential risk is system downtime or accessibility issues. The impact is reduced utilization of data channels. So to mitigate, establish backup systems and ICT support. For the success indicators, for the quantitative indicators, at least 95% on-time submission of required reports, 100% compliance with the standards reporting templates, and at least one coordination meeting is conducted monthly. So there is a lot of identified quantitative indicators. For the qualitative indicators, I will mention some of those. Improve collaboration among regional and provincial offices, increase satisfaction of management with report quality, and a stronger culture of accountability and teamwork. For the reflection and learning, so key lessons learned. So effective coordination is essential for organizational efficiency. Behavior change requires both system improvements and individual accountability. Then clear rules, communication channels, and monitoring mechanisms promote better performance. And technology supports efficiency when combined with proper training and commitment. And last is that leadership support is critical in sustaining behavioral change initiatives. That's all for our group, and thank you.
Good.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Very
group.
nice.
So
Great.
group number 2 and 4. The competition is between group 2 and 4 now. Who will be remaining with us up till dinner time?
For Group 4, so our behavior change planning workshop, identify a behavior challenge. So we identify one behavior challenge, lack of motivation to pursue higher level competency and inconsistent program engagement. Stakeholders affected, students, trainees, administrative staff, trainers, teachers, industry partners. For root cause or causes, lack of awareness of the benefits and career opportunities associated with completing the training program, financial constraints and the need to prioritize income-generating activities, does not meet expectations, low commitment and career goals, family responsibilities and personal challenges like difficulty adjusting to training requirements and schedules, not ready for physically and mentally, trainers of factors, currently employed and no interest to pursue to higher qualification, lack of acceptance by the industry resulted to remain unemployed, which makes the trainee unmotivated to pursue, desired behavior change, scholars, beneficiaries to persist and complete the entire training programs despite difficulties in lessons or activities, scholars, beneficiaries to proactively ask questions, seek help and guidance, scholars, beneficiaries, family intervention should be evident. Scholars, beneficiaries to develop confidence and positive mindset toward learning challenging contents. Trainee or scholars are more open and acceptable to change. Benefit of change, increased training completion rates, improve employability and livelihood opportunities for graduates, acquisition of all competencies to qualify the national certification, increased chances of employment and better livelihood opportunities, improved self-esteem, reduce waste of funds and resources, efficient knowledge and skills gained, improve trainee-trainer relationship. For a behavior change action plan, for a while. Ayan, major obstacles, lack of motivation, action plan for that specific obstacle, provision of career counseling, responsible persons, designated career advocate, timeline 2 to 3 months, resources needed, IEC materials, lack of awareness of the benefits and career opportunities associated with completing the training program, strengthen career guidance to trainees, institution, responsible person, institution advocacy team or the PIO, timeline 2 to 3 months, resources needed, labor market information. For poor attendance and absenteeism, so implement attendance monitoring and early intervention for at-risk trainees, trainer and register the responsible person, timeline 2 to 3 months, attendance monitoring system, communication allowance. For the next obstacle, financial and personal challenges, strengthen and establish regular counseling and referral mechanism for trainees needing assistance, responsible person, designated career, advocate personnel, timeline 2 to 3 months, strengthen policy on counseling practices and referral networks. For possible strategies needed, we have awareness campaigns, mentoring and coaching, policy revisions. For alignment with vision statement, yes, state the reason. TESDA is a transformational leader in the technical education and skills development of the Filipino workforce. Transforming the behavior of these trainees are really aligned with the vision of the organization. For risk analysis of behavior change, potential risk. Scholars, beneficiaries still feel overwhelmed despite of the support. Impact, low progress, continued dropout risk, mitigation strategy, regular check-ins, adjust pace and difficulty if necessary possible, inclusion of guidance counseling in the course of the training, in all training programs. For next potential risk, short-term motivation, impact, scholars lose, drive once again later. And then the mitigation strategy, recognize any form of progress and reinforce this progress. Next, potential risk, limited resources for intervention programs. Impact, difficulty sustaining activities, mitigation strategy, mobilize support from partners, LGUs, industries, and community stakeholders. For success indicators, low or no dropouts, dropout rate reduced from current level to less than 5%, increased number of graduates or program completion rates, higher assessment and certification passing rates, increased number of graduates employed or self-employed after training, complete attendance to new training programs enrolled, or more of scholars complete a full training program. For the qualitative indicators, competitive performance during training, early attendance to training, stronger sense of responsibility and ownership of learning among trainees, positive feedback from trainees regarding TESDA support services and programs, positive observations from trainers on trainee participation and attitude, improved trainee-trainers relationship. For reflection and learning, change when managed with openness, preparation, and resilience becomes an opportunity for growth and innovation and continuous improvement rather than something to be feared. Thank you so much.
All right, so group 2.
So good afternoon, everyone. For the presentation of Group 2, the identified behavioral change, our challenge is a resistance to adapting to multiple learning modalities, or what we also call flexible learning, within the TVET institutions. Stakeholders affected are all, like students, trainees, admin staff, community members, trainers, teachers, industry partners. So we have identified 2 root causes. One is on the readiness of the institutions in terms of the existing curricula, our learners, the acceptance or readiness also of our learners, trainers in terms of their capacity, also the resources available in the institutions, as well as its access to it, because there might be some budget, but in terms of accessing like higher technology equipment, these are some of the challenges that we are encountering. At the same time, in terms of policy, we have also identified the lack of clarity in terms of deploying our guidelines. So it might be subjected for different interpretations. For letter D, desired behavior change, we have identified 2. So once we are able to do the behavior change, then there would be a positive reception or acceptance on the flexible learning in the TVET system. And also there would be readiness and increased confidence among our trainers, or specifically in our institutions, as well as our learners and industry partners. So for the benefit, there would be more enrollment or more takers in terms of our training programs. There would be less disruption in the delivery of our training programs. And lastly would be the enhancement or the enhanced access and inclusivity in the TVET by providing diverse and learner-centered training options. So in order to accommodate our various learners' needs, including working individuals as well as the advantaged groups. So for our behavior change action plan, major obstacle that we have identified, the lack of infrastructure or which includes equipment, facilities, and all. The action required would be provision of allocated budget for it and tap also partners, industry partners, as well as schools or other institutions. Responsible persons, our institution administrators, our regional directors, and of course, the assistants of the central office. Timeline would be 2 years. Resource needed would be the budget. Another one is the low digital literacy. So we have identified the capacity building of our trainers and also our concerned individuals in terms of managing the training program. Responsible person or office, NTTA, timeline would be 1 year, resource needed is budget as well. Another major challenge or obstacle would be access to technology. So since that, we have identified industry partnerships as well as institutions in partnering for accessing the technologies or equipment. So same with the responsible persons, it would be the whole TVET system. For possible strategies needed, we have identified all. We have checked all, so awareness campaigns, mentoring, coaching, policy revision, digital solutions, as well as peer learning, monitoring, feedback, incentives, and training and capacity building. So yes, we have stated that it is in line with the vision statement, particularly under the 8-point agenda on access to TVET and flexible learning facilities. For the risk analysis of behavior change, the potential risk would be on the lack of funds. So the impact would be, of course, there would be no improvement and lack of compliance. So our mitigation strategy would be partnerships. And another potential risk is on the quality of training. So the impact would be low quality or ineffective training. And for the mitigation strategy, we indicated strengthened monitoring and evaluation, as well as the compliance audit and accreditation levels. For the success indicator, for the quantitative, we indicated number of learners enrolled in the flexible learning delivery, as well as number of TVIs implementing the flexible learning delivery. And for the qualitative indicators, there would be positive customer service satisfaction and responsiveness to any learning distractions. So for our reflection and learning, our key lesson learned is resistance to flexible learning is not simply an opposition to change, but it is a signal that systems, skills, and support structures must evolve together. So that's all. Thank you.
All right, so Dr. Hirsch, now floor is yours, of course, sir. All the 5 groups have presented their connotations. Sir, you are sir mute. We cannot listen to you.
Sorry. Great work. All of them have done great work. Few projects are really noteworthy. What they have identified as behavioral changes, like one was channels, information channels, and the other one was silo, where they are looking at the data management systems, for that matter. So they are really noteworthy ones. Along the others have also done. Just a quick things, behavioral change, right? So behavioral change budgets will be the resources. What are the obstacles? Humans. For example, in one of the contexts, if you have to look at it, why people are not sharing information, you have to answer that question. That is the behavioral aspect. So look at the root causes, not the symptoms, right? So that is important here. What are the root cause? Few of the groups have looked at the symptoms rather than the root causes. So just try to look at that, and in total, I think you might have got a bit of overview of what how the leadership, and most of the places you have seen that people have talked about the top management support or the leadership as the critical factors for implementing that one. So I
Very
hope that these two things get related, for that matter, and you might have get a fair bit of idea regarding the same. Any questions, any queries, I'm open to that. Though I'll love to give detailed one, but because shortage of time, we have already overshot the time. I'll stop here and open the floor for any queries. Professor Naim?
We still have one session with you, Dr. Harsh. We still have one session with you on the day after tomorrow. So whatever will be left will definitely be covered during that particular session. But he's very right in one perspective, that is, sometimes we are focusing on some issue thinking it's an issue, but that is not an issue. That is a root cause, that is a implication or repercussion of that particular issue. Like for example, whenever we are having a headache, this is one of the best examples. I listened from one of my professors. So he said, what do you think, headache is an issue? So I said, sir, headache is an issue. He said, no, headache is not an issue. It's coming as a repercussion of some particular issue. Try to identify what is the issue. Issue can be exhaustedness, dehydration. Headache is coming as a repercussion of that one particular issue. So he's absolutely right that whenever we are talking about some particular thing, we are focusing on implication or the repercussion. But issue is something different, which is in the backside. So let's try to identify that particular factor which is causing dehydration, maybe exhaustedness, maybe you have not slept enough. That is an issue. Headache is just an indicator, which is right now coming as a warning sign to you, as a repercussion of that one particular pondering matter or pondering issue. So thank you so much, Dr. Harsh.
Thank you, Professor Naeem. Thank you, all the participants, and my sincere apologies for overshooting the time a little bit.
No, it's okay, sir. It's very okay because, sir, Philippine people are very flexible towards time, and I'm pretty much hopeful that they will not evaluate it into my evaluation. That I overran almost 15 minutes for this particular day. Actually, this was also because of the reason, because our afternoon session started 15 minutes late. Yeah, because of the latecomers, and we will ask those latecomers to dance and sing on the last day. So a very big round of applause for Dr. Harsh. And let me apprise every one of you with a very strong fact that he is not actually feeling well. He's having a temperature right now, and he's not well. And still he has been with us for more than 3.5 hours. So again, I would be requesting every one of you to please encourage him for his participation, for his presence, and for his worthy information and knowledge which he shared with us. Thank you, Dr. Harsh. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Naeem. It was all because of the support of you and all the participants' support that I was able to take this session. Thank you very much, and
Thank you
look
so much,
forward
sir.
to the
Take care.
next. Thank
Sir,
you.
see you day after tomorrow, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good day. Good day, everyone.
Thank you. All right, so now this is the time for workshop number 3. No, it's a time for the calling it as a day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay po, let's call it a day na po as said po ni Sir Prof. Naim.